Over the last 5 to 10 years, an important conversation has started, and I'm here to continue it. The question is, are you ready to do it with me? This is a pretty scary thing for me to do, but I'm ready to keep the conversation going to help other men by sharing my own story. In mid-2018, my anxiety and depression were at the worst they had ever been. Having quit university for a second time, I had chosen to shut myself away in my room, away from the world. My days were spent making and watching YouTube videos. It was really the only thing that kept me going. It gave me something to focus on each day at a time when I felt disconnected from myself and the world around me. I was just living each day as it came, convinced all other guys were feeling the same. My mental health continued to spiral, and I ended up in a really dark place. I didn't want to burden anyone with what I was dealing with, so I chose to fight my internal battles on my own. Everything changed, however, when I chose to seek help. I sought counseling and entered the Recovery Works Anxiety program at MAPS. It was through there that I heard about the MAPS youth group, a group which has had a huge impact on my life, and I owe them thanks for that. If there's one thing that my mental health journey has taught me, is that you're not any less of a man for speaking up and seeking help. This was the path that I chose to seek help, but I'm keen to see what's helped out other young men too. Why do you think that young men our age don't seek help or are afraid to?
They don't want to be a burden to someone else.
Okay.
And it's like, you're suffering with your own stuff, so why would you want to put that on someone else?
Okay.
The idea of like, you're seen as weak if you're emotional, you're weak if you need help, but in reality, you're not weak at all. You know, it's just like a stupid stigma that's been created for a long time.
Yeah, I definitely think that's been a contributor to it.
When you don't want to talk about like your emotions and stuff, because at the end of the day, when you do, you feel way better when you tell someone about your problems, and I guess that's just the best way to handle that type of situation.
A lot has been done to really raise awareness about men's mental well-being over the last several years, but you know, how do we keep that conversation going, do you think?
I think everyone can be aware of it, but it's different being aware of it and talking about it, because we don't talk about mental health unless it's like an event, or like unless it's like a, you know, you sit down with your friends and then you talk about it then, which is always good, but it's kind of like a less common thing than it should be. And it should be a way more common thing.
You know, everyone's talking about it, you'll be more inclined to.
So
if no one's talking about it, then you speak up, you might be looked at as like, why are you saying that?
Don't be afraid to ask your friends how they are and if they're okay. Like that's a complete fair question, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a really nice question to ask somebody as well.
It's not the worst thing to get a little bit of support or advice from someone that you're close to. It's always just refreshing, and it actually benefits both of you. So,
sure. I did an anonymous survey of both current and former students at my campus to see what lessons they've learned on their own mental health journey. The one major theme that kept coming up was that it was important not to isolate yourself and open up to your mates that you trust if you're ever going through something. Everyone has their own ways of enhancing their mental well-being. Research shows that something as simple as exercise, diet, or listening to music has a lot of benefits for it. Doing something simple like celebrating the small wins throughout the day, taking a hot shower, or being as simple as sharing with someone that you're having a bad day. Everyone has their own way of dealing with these sorts of things. It's a matter of finding what works for you. Have you guys ever had a mate struggle with this stuff, and how do you support them if you did?
I had a mate, he was struggling with relationship problems, and he was in a real toxic relationship. He's friends with all the boys. They would always be judging him like, why are you still with her? Like, oh, you just need to, you know. But at the end of the day, I had a really good conversation with him. And the one thing that they just didn't understand was it's just personal problems, you know. Like sometimes people have issues that they can't, you know, commend with, and so they just, you know, they either have to live it through or they get past it. When you and your friend can like interact, like chill and like, you know, talk about anything, like, you know, social, like mental problems, anything, I think that's what a true friend is. I think someone that listens to you and that has your back is a true friend.
There's no point living life in just misery. You know, and it's not worth it at the end of the day. You know, it's worth it. Enjoy some things. Enjoy what you can, you know, and then the things you don't enjoy, learn from it. Keep moving forward.
What actionable tips do you guys have for men to help enhance their mental well-being?
If you're in perhaps not a great place, like talk to someone, like anyone. Like bottling that up is
it ain't good.
Just gonna fuck you up.
Not being afraid to take a break as well if you're overworking.
There's definitely avenues for everybody to do something that's positive for their health, whether that's diet or whether that's you know, exercise, or whether that's art, or whether that's, you know, building or making or creating or whatever.
Try something like a hobby, non-addiction, you know, something like that.
Addiction's a big ass one, especially with
definitely,
New Zealand guys,
especially
and teenagers.
As men, we often have a tendency to just bottle up our emotions. We just swipe it all to the side and continue on with our lives because that's what society tells us to do. But there's a real danger in doing that. Over time, those ignored emotions and the pressure from that builds up. Like a boiler, it'll eventually explode when that pressure becomes too much. Those consequences can be disastrous, not only to yourself, but to those around you as well. That's why it's important to know that it's okay to be going through something. Whatever you're feeling is valid. Not only that, those feelings are needed too. From counseling to self-care, getting help can take many forms. There are many options available out there for men. Problem is, we don't talk about our mental well-being enough. The more we do, the more men become aware of it and just how important it is to take care of our mental well-being. That's why, since we're more competitive by nature, I want to lay down a challenge to the men watching.
Let's just talk. We've been silent for long enough. Our voices deserve to be heard.